Okay, guys, welcome to this live. I thought I would share some travel tips about traveling to Zanzibar. I went to Zanzibar last year, and we're going to talk about the best time to travel, the currency that you should use when you go to Zanzibar, transportation in Zanzibar. Zanzibar recently has been a very heavily attractive place to visit the past couple years. And you see all these people from TikTok and YouTube who have recently visited Zanzibar. But I wanted to share with you some tips that you need to know before you go. And so the first tip is to actually make sure that you go during a good season in terms of the weather. So between June and October is the best time to go. We went to Zanzibar August, and the weather was perfect. It was not too hot, it was not too cool in the evenings, but it was actually very comfortable, very good weather. You do need to be mindful of the mosquitoes. If you're staying on the resorts, they will put a net around your bed each night, and they will spray it with mosquito repellent sprays because the mosquitoes are that serious. If you hang out in the evenings or hang out at nighttime, make sure that you put on repellent, or if you can and it's not too hot, put on long sleeve shirts, long sleeve pants just to walk around the resort or whenever you're out and about in the evenings. During the daytime, you're not going to have too many issues with the mosquitoes. I don't think I had any problems, but the weather was great. It was perfect. June to October. It's also the great time if you want to go and do a safari as well inland. Now, before you get to Zanzibar, you do need to go onto your government website and check for any travel precautions, things to look out for. So, for example, during the time we had, I think it was either a yellow caution when going to Zanzibar. There were some things going on in Tanzania, but it had nothing to do with the island itself. And so we were fine to travel. You do need a visa to get into Zanzibar. You need to go on the website and apply for a visa way in advance to get into Zanzibar. The other thing you need to be mindful of when going to Zanzibar is that it is very recommended to take certain vaccinations. You should have typhoid, you should have yellow fever, you should be able to go to a local clinic and pick up some malaria pills just to be preventative for any type of, malaria fears that may come with mosquito bites. You should be up to date with your hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, but you need to take precautions and make sure you take the vaccines that, um, you know, should be taken. They are not required vaccinations. I will say that. This is not a requirement. My husband did not have any of these vaccinations going into the country. I had everything because I had recently traveled to Africa in the past couple of years. And so a lot of my, vaccinations were up to date. But it's not a requirement, it's just a recommendation. The currency in Zanzibar are shillings, and you can use US dollars. That's not a problem. And what I realized the majority of the time was that people actually preferred US dollars in terms of tips. When we got to the airport, we just found actually, no, when we got to the airport, I had contacted the hotel in advance to set up a ride from the airport to get to the resort. So we did schedule a ride. When we tipped our driver, we did ask, would you prefer shillings or would you prefer US dollars? And he said US dollars. And so we gave him US dollars. So, one, it is important to ask. Two, I did notice there was a preference for US dollars. And three, it's good to carry two types of currencies. Carry whatever currency you normally have, and also carry shillings as well. Transportation, like I said, before we got to the resort, I contacted the hotel, scheduled a driver to pick us up. While we were at the resort, there was an option to use the local um, transportation people that worked with the hotel. We did not want to do that. We kind of wanted to give back and find like local taxi drivers so that we could tip them ourselves. When you work with the hotel will take a cut of that money and they will not provide the full amount to the driver. And so I thought it was a way better to give back to these drivers and actually support their business. And we found one driver, we worked with him pretty much the whole time, and he drove us to wherever we wanted to go. We exchanged numbers on WhatsApp, and he connected us to other people around who had local businesses. Now, when you go to the hotel as well, they're going to want to get you to do all these tours. They're going to want you to do the dolphin tour, the sea turtles, go to this island and do this and do that. And they charge so much money. Don't do it. Don't do it, because they are making the portion of the money themselves. And you've already spent all this money at this hotel and this resort. Go with the locals, find local people. You will notice that Zanzibar is a hustler's island, okay? They will come up to you immediately and they will hustle you. They in a good way. They will try to sell their business and they will say, "Hey, what you want to do today? Do you want to go see the fish? Do you want to go swim with the dolphins? Do you want to go, snorkeling? Whatever you want to do, we got you." Okay? Um and that's what we did. We met the locals, and our taxi cab driver connected us with his friends. So one friend took us to swim with the dolphins. We had a great experience, and that experience was $30, okay, for two people. Another friend took us to go snorkeling off the coast of this beautiful island. Um, Amazing experience. Then we had another friend who took us into Stone Town, picked us up from our hotel, took us all the way into Stone Town, because you have to realize you're not going to get from point A to point B. Everything is not close. These are more than 30-minute drives. And so we went into Stone Town with another friend. He was our tour guide. He showed us all around Stone Town. We had an excellent day. But make sure you find local people to help you with these attractions. Also, when you check the weather, when to go, just make sure you check the attire as well. Make sure you pack appropriately. For example, when you go to places like Zanzibar, you do have to be mindful that it is an Islamic country. Tanzania is an Islamic, um, sorry, Zanzibar is an Islamic island. I would not say Tanzania as a country in whole is Islamic, but there are a lot of Muslims in Tanzania. However, Zanzibar itself, a lot of the population are Muslim. When you go into Stone Town, particularly, please make sure you wear the appropriate clothing. Tube tops and tank tops and bikinis and walking around in a bathing suit is just not okay. Ladies, just make sure you wear something appropriate, okay? Um, and just be mindful of the culture. Just keep that in mind. You also want to make sure that you try the local cuisine. Their food is amazing. Zanzibar is a melting pot. You're going to find people from Asian cultures, different parts of Africa, Indian. And so the cuisine has a mixture of all of that. I mean, delicious food. The fruit was like the best fruit I've ever had in my entire life. It just 100% pure, very like sweet. You can tell there was no pesticides, no chemicals. It wasn't altered. It was just so good. So I'm just going over my notes and making sure I covered everything. Yeah, I'm on live. um, let's see. I think that's it, guys. But yeah, just make sure that you engage with the locals, make sure that you're respectful, make sure that you also have a good time. But I hope these tips helped, and I hope that you enjoy your time in Zanzibar. I put a poll at the bottom. Let me know if you've been to Zanzibar, if you're thinking about going, if you've been and had, an experience you want to share, drop it down below. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.